Okay, should I start over?
Yeah,
Oh, okay, sorry. Good morning, everybody. Today is February 19th, 2026. This is a meeting of the MN Sphere Reuse Committee. It's a hybrid meeting that is being did. I'll just quickly go through the agenda. We have minutes first from February 5th. Susie Moshe is going to talk about her discussions, Board of Health. Paul Lyons, present his lists of possible paths for the library building, former library building. Talk about a presentation to the select board and then a discussion of next steps. Discuss Alan Weiss questions, and if there's any unanticipated business, anybody have anything else?
I did. I just wanted to have a discussion about public input and what our plans are for that.
I would assume that's a plan for community engagement.
Oh,
That's sort of the public input.
oh,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah. Anything else? Okay. So thank you all. I did go through the minutes. Sounds like it was a pretty full meeting that you had on February 5th. So do I hear a motion to approve the meeting minutes of February 5th, 2026?
So moved. Second.
Okay. Any edits, any changes to the minutes? Thank you for doing a thorough job, Brennan. Appreciate that. And having them done for the next meeting. So motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes of February 5th, 2026. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Mosier, aye.
Lions eye.
Johnson, aye.
And Farrell, aye.
You abstain.
Well, it
Ken?
was made clear. I could abstain, but I trust that these were done well.
Okay.
And that's basically what Haley communicated. No, because we talked about it the other night. If
Okay.
you have confidence that the minutes were done
Oh.
thoughtfully and thoroughly, you can vote and
It's a no.
lack of presence. Yes. Okay, so Susie, you're up first to tell us about follow-up
Yeah.
with the Board of Health, because we did have one meeting with them and
Right.
then
So like a lot of things, there's not a way to track back this information on the water system in town hall. DEP does not have a way of fetching back that information. So even if I'm not positive that they were even really involved in that. So we don't know.
this is about the well.
Capacity
yeah.
of the town well and its ability to, its yield and its capacity to recover. What we did discuss at last meeting is that we don't see any major increase in the draw of that building if it is just a meeting one, because the meetings would be either held here or held there. So and I don't have there's no Board of Health awareness that there was ever trouble here, like didn't go dry, it wasn't drought related. So no, we don't have the information, and it is likely not to have a significant impact in the way we understand it unless we go for something that's more continuous use. But again, if you went to the police station, the police is here now. So if they're using water across the street, it wouldn't be a big difference.
Henry Geddes has just joined us. Want us? Right there.
Do we know certain that there is no well completion report available via the Board of Health? I mean, did they search for that, do you know?
She went, so I said to her, this is the information we need, yield and recovery rate. And she looked in the sources that they have access to, which is their own files and DEP, and there's no information available. There's nothing there. And she said that's always been true about the DEP files. They're not
Right.
accessible in a way that you could check back, but she did try.
Right, okay, but the Board of Health has the whole file of well completion reports going back a certain, certain ways at least, and I guess I'd still
Okay, I'll
like to know
try that. I don't know.
if they have checked on that.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know that they have them, ordered in any way where you can just kind of zip right, go right to it in the
Right.
file. Last time I looked at them, which was many, many years ago now, it was just a big folder full of them,
Okay.
and I had to just kind of go through them myself.
okay. Let me do that.
And what were those, Paul, exactly from?
Well completion report. So when the well is first drilled,
Okay,
the driller, will record all kinds of information, how deep the well was, what kind of substrate they encountered at different levels, what the yield was at the time, how many gallons per minute,
Mhm.
all of that. So I think that's the kind of thing Alan Weiss would probably really want to see if it's available.
Okay,
anything else from the Board of Health? Especially,
no. I didn't see that, I didn't pay attention to, would it likely permit the connection? I thought we had had that discussion. Would it likely permit the connection to the church's 1,500-gallon septic system for the Spears building use? I didn't ask that question. I didn't remember that being a question I was supposed to follow up on. So,
Yeah, I asked Al Warner about this question and he referred us to the Board of Health.
uh-huh, yeah,
But yeah, and I could pursue with Al again.
no, it's a Board of Health issue. So
Yeah.
I will find out, but I thought we had that cleared.
And by the way, I did check with Chris Foote, as I said I would
yeah.
do last time, and he did confirm that the septic system is on the east side of the church rather than the west, as I had
Yeah.
erroneously recorded.
it's on the east side on the, where the
Fire escape.
fire escape is,
Right.
yep. The elevator, yep, okay. And the other side is, and the well's in the common,
South.
Right.
West part of the commons.
so there's nothing on the other side.
The big tree, yeah.
Um. Okay, does it make sense to move up just the Alan, kind of your reactions to Alan Weiss, because I wanted to hear from you guys about, or do we want to?
Well,
Where it is in the agenda?
Part of what happened last week was understanding that if the path goes this way, then it has more to do with his concerns. If the path goes that way,
I, see.
those are not concerns that we're gonna have to wrestle with.
Okay.
That's where we were at.
So maybe we should talk about the paths then. Is that something that somebody was sort of starting to sketch out after the last meeting, or are we doing that now?
That's what this paper is.
Yeah. Right, the next agenda item, number 3, kind of addresses that to some degree.
Oh, here it is. I'm sorry. I didn't see it. Okay, do you want to, Paul, did you draft this?
No, Susie drafted.
Okay.
So I do not want to take credit for this.
Okay.
I edited it a little bit and sent it around, but Susie.
And
drafted
you
it.
also oriented it more towards, this is a report, we're thinking, preparing for the select board. So it has that preface. I did.
Right.
I did a part of it, but not. And I think that that's what we thought we were heading towards. How do you present this information?
Yes.
So that people can understand what the factors are. So it was, became an if then.
Okay. So do you want to just do a quick summary for us? I mean, this is great having this detailed here, but basically how you laid it out and
So in the paragraph that Paul wrote, a central question is the committee's discussions related to the decision about adding the bathroom. And then the committee felt it was desirable and for what reasons. But then the following groups, number 1 is if we pursue the bathroom option, when we looked at different ways we could pursue that. And then 2, if there was no bathroom option, how that would affect our the options for the town. And then broke off the discussion about the police station, because that has been sort of one of the ones that's going up and down. And so number 3, if it's in the Spear, and number 4, if it's downstairs. So that's how it's organized. And I tried to incorporate the information that we had discovered for each of those pieces and sort them out to be, this is over here, this is over here, this is over here.
Okay. I was surprised at the $100,000 figure that, because I mean, not surprised, but not surprised. At the that Stephen Delmas had,
And that's a
very
pretty,
rough estimate.
yeah,
Yeah.
very rough.
Yeah.
As a builder, she would want to say, oh my gosh, that's what you're looking at. But
So I know we need to both do something to the select board and then to the larger community. And I'm wondering if, what the format is this the format for presenting to the select board? And do we want to make any kind of initial take? Our take is on either of these paths. So do we do, maybe starting with the, do we do a bathroom and then that opens up, more uses? And do we think about relocating the police department, or for that matter, any other departments over to the MN Spear building?
I've been thinking a bit about this lately, and I guess in relation to our, upcoming discussion about our plan for community engagement, I felt it was really important for us to steer clear of any recommendations at this point. I like the if-then, approach, where if we decide to put a bathroom in, then this. If we don't put a bathroom in, then that. So just lay out the options without a recommendation. That would be my preference.
Yeah.
and you did have in that second paragraph, the committee felt that a functional bathroom is desirable. But I liked that in your redrafting or your editing of this that I sent to you, you specifically listed a no bathroom option, which I
Right.
think we were beginning to skip over. And I don't think that that's really our, that's not a clear path. That's not clearly our path.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
I think that helped to say, if there's no bathroom, this is what it looks like.
Right.
Yeah, and in that second paragraph up above, afterwards, I was thinking, well, maybe instead of saying a bathroom is desirable, we should have said a bathroom provides more options. Yeah,
Yeah,
as I
I think that's
Right.
said
it.
Yeah.
maybe even remove that word desirable.
Right.
To say, take out is desirable and say provides more options.
Yeah.
I think that when this comes in front of public discussion, that will be one of the choices people will forward. And now they have path of what that's like.
Mhm. What would be good to know? So we have figures here around the, dollar signs attached to the bathroom option. What we don't have is dollar signs attached to anything else beyond the bathroom, or any kind of rough estimate beyond just installing the bathroom. What other upgrades are necessary? Let's say we're putting the police station in there. So, and that, it seemed like what discussion centered around that, if we use it and we have to upgrade to the building code, to the current building code, that only with our next plans could we reach a potential cost. but maybe if we had a range, because I think it's hard to compare, doing something here, say for the police station versus doing something over there. Is that $100,000 too? Are we talking about basically the same amount of money?
Right.
Except for, I think that what doing this process was for me is that where we had a builder specifically look at this work and come up with a number, we deferred doing that for the Spear Building to make it a police station because we actually have it set in number 1, which is architect plans would be needed. And what we could ballpark is that section 4 doesn't include a bathroom. Bathrooms are already here.
Sections.
So so
Right.
thing,
Yeah.
some of the things in section 4 wouldn't apply to Spear, like asbestos flooring.
No, but he was just saying, wasn't he saying that if we did everything here,
Mhm.
and we're not talking about anything over there.
Right.
It's $100,000, 1
Mhm.
through 8.
Right.
If we're doing Spear Building and we're pursuing a bathroom, basically, there are all kinds of figures here. Tight tank, $10,000,
Right, right, right.
or a full septic system is 30. Well location, high-end trench under Cooleyville Road.
Yeah.
So if you start adding those up, what I'm saying is that just with the bathroom alone.
Right.
For that building, I'm
So I think maybe in number
$1,000. Is that
number 3, when it says if it's relocated and it starts out saying we need architect plans, there will be renovation costs. We don't have
Yes.
understood yet.
Yeah,
So we need to say that there's costs there.
above and beyond the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we start with the base cost of the bathroom, I don't know, somebody else add this up with how you read this.
80,000.
Well,
80,000.
but it's not,
There are 2 separate options.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
So if
You could say for. Yeah, because
he didn't say anything about drilling a new well on
it's
the town common,
in 3.
or we could drill a new
We'll
well,
have
but
done
what is the
in 3.
cost? Oh, there's a question mark. We don't have a cost.
No.
Didn't he mention, throw out a cost to us? I mean, I think of like $20,000 as like a ballpark. I mean, so unpredictable, with a well, how far down you're gonna have to go and the hydrofrac and all.
We just got very, paragraph 2.
Oh, E, yeah, 15, okay, for with pumps and electric. A new well is around 15,000 with pumps and electric. We don't know,
New well, $15,000. Okay.
I guess that includes the drilling too.
Yeah. And then the tie into the bathroom, is that a separate cost?
I believe so, yeah.
I'm not sure we can get so detailed.
But Susie, if we want to come, I'm just saying, if we want to have like, I think if we don't have dollar signs, kind of at least a range, everybody's going to say, well, I don't know, what is it going to cost us? And maybe we pick based on,
Yeah,
it's partially on cost. So I'm just trying to get some sort of, outline, and obviously it's going to change, but, are we comparing 2 options here that are essentially the same amount of money? I mean, it feels to me that's probably where it's going to land. If this is $100,000, I could see that, but if we have some costs associated with the water and
Right. I think there are 2 big question marks with that issue. One is, the septic system. My sense is that there's a good chance we'll be able to tie into the church
Okay.
septic system. So those costs, full septic system, $30,000. You can probably, eliminate that. Secondly, is the police station question, if a police quote station is going to be built there? Who knows? That's when the architect plans come in, all kinds of code requirements, kick in. And we could be talking about some big money. If we're
Yep.
just talking about a police office, not so much. So
When you say police office versus a police, you're differentiating between a police office and a police station.
yes. Yeah, and where did that all come from? Was that from Stephen? I think his discussion with the building inspector?
Yeah.
Right, there is a difference.
There
A
is a difference.
full-fledged police station has certain requirements. Just having an office space for the police, like we do here, basically, does not have all those requirements.
No, but it does say, and so when we listed this, section 3, number 3 is, is already a security system here, but it's part of the building and it's part of the office. And then the booking room is a new piece that they are already intending, whether it's in this building or that building.
Where are you,
In section 3,
section 3?
draft.
Okay.
And in number 3 and 4, 3 would not be
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
only about a police station. It would be, already in a police office, we have some security system. But what is different is 4, the booking room and secure storage. Would be additional to that building. And the booking room was already here and that's called secure storage.
What do you mean?
Well, there's both
That's
that one.
Room?
No, that's secure
Storage.
storage.
Oh.
And there is
I thought
evidence room.
any booking, they have an evidence room, but they don't have a booking room.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Booking room would be additional.
Right.
And that's not just doing a police office as we have here, just moved over there. We move it over there, he wants a booking room. He
Wants a
booking
police
room here, right?
He wants, I mean, that, it seems to me that's what the chief was asking for, was a police station, not just police offices. Well, if you have a booking room, what's the difference between a station?
Right, and that's a
Not-
building inspector's
Right,
position. And
Right.
he's a police officer.
right.
So there's pieces that are sort of floating about here, coming from different points of view. But what we do know is that Devin is saying, security systems would be needed. He wants a booking room and secure storage areas, which would include the evidence room, which is already up there, secure. And that thing over there, he was calling that part of the storage that would need to be secured. As if that's already secure.
We had the same question at the last meeting with,
Yeah.
the actual difference
Yeah.
between those two terms.
Yeah.
And Stephen didn't have the answer from the building inspector. We were kind of thinking that that Devin might be here and he might be able to shed some light on it, but he didn't make the meeting. So yeah,
That seems like a fine fine point made by the building inspector versus like Devin, because
probably,
as what we have always talked about is having a police office.
well,
That's what we have upstairs.
we were calling it, I think, the police
Oh,
station
we-
before we realized that might not be the term we want to use.
I guess what makes it into a police station
Right.
versus.
Yeah,
police
and we
officer?
need to
Is it the
understand that.
booking room? Is it a bigger evidence room? It just seems to me like,
Yeah.
we're splitting hairs here a little bit and it would be nice if we could understand how you differentiate offices versus stations.
And I'm not sure that Devin has a perspective relative to building codes. He has a
No,
perspective in
right.
terms of
What she
function.
needs.
And then probably he should talk to Jim Hawkins because
Right.
it's an interpretive dance and they need to
Mhm.
both be dancing.
Mhm. Okay,
So anyway, I think the bottom line is that it's going to be extremely difficult to go to the select board and say, option A, X dollars, option B, X dollars, Y dollars. I don't think we can get to that point, Rita. And
Okay.
no, I know that's what you'd like to do.
Yeah,
And-
I think it helps focus the discussion, so,
They're gonna end up with questions and then we'll
Yeah.
act.
yeah. Well, I think,
So will the public.
I
Yeah.
think if the message is without more due diligence, we don't have definitive answers, like without some of the things that came up in here without architectural plans, that somebody could, really take and without, getting the survey, I was trying to remember what else, he had recommended, but, it's probably time appropriate to lay this out, and sort of say, this is where we've gotten to. We've done, all this research. And then what's the pleasure of, select board and get some public input.
Yeah.
Um,
I think we need to get more focus so that
Uh-huh.
we can then really
Right.
delve into, where
Pursuing it.
and
we are going.
yeah, and
instead
if
of
we want to spend
only-
money. Yeah, if we
Right.
want to spend money pursuing one or both of these options, because the next thing seems to me is it's going to cost some money. So I don't know if you know this, I sort of just stumbled upon it when I was reading the paper that, Leverett has been looking at the reuse of their,
Yeah. I saw that.
and I gather that's been going on for a while, Brennan, do you know?
Yeah.
Hold on.
It's been also. There's the committee.
So we don't want to go on for a few years, but they finally hired somebody from a guy from Northfield and I think they were still in the process of looking at options.
Yeah.
So I think we can do that, that's
Right.
that's not anything above our pay grade, where I think we start to get into a place where we need professional help is that architect, engineer, an Alan Weiss type person
Right.
on some of the site stuff. And I guess, I think we have enough to say we can go one of two routes. Here here's what we've learned. We have, some super rough numbers for like part of it, but we wouldn't have anything more really that you could put your arms around until we got some more third-party assistance in the form of a architect / cost estimator and the site person.
One thing I think that got linked here that I'm not sure when we send it to the select board and do public information is the link of, we studied the storage need, the office needs, space needs. If we choose a stage of just using that for meetings, it doesn't necessitate that we move the offices around here.
That's correct.
We may want to say something, and he does say, Paul wrote the paragraph. So he said, the existing space in town hall is not considered adequate for some functions, for example, the police department. And that we would likely have, and it's not necessarily precipitated by moving the police there or not there. There seemed to be a notion of using the space in this building more optimally,
Yes.
regardless of what happens over there. And I think somehow he said it here, but it's still linked to whether they're here or not here. And I think it's not actually only coming from that idea that they move over there or they move here. At some point, giving adequate space to them and all of the subsequent dominoes that fell after is a separate sort of piece to this that we might need to clarify. And the town could say, nope, use that for small space. Don't put the $100,000 here. Just keep going.
Yeah.
And somehow that has to be, I think that can be framed.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's the 3 levels, right? Everything sort of stays the same with the exception of we make the MN Spear building available for meetings and we
Right.
do whatever kind of minor upgrades. Second level is we do a police station in here and we still do, you know, the upgrades. And then the third is the police department gets moved over to the MN Spear building and all the costs associated with that, and we leave town hall alone.
But we.
Except we have to just deal with it.
The upstairs.
Yes, the upstairs, but
For no.
but it seems like those are three paths we could go. And maybe, you know, we can roughly say, yes, this is the cheapest. This is the, you know, we think is the, and I think that the two options of adapting this space and, as I said, dealing with that space over there are going to be similar in
Yeah.
cost and significant.
Right.
So
I mean, it seems to me as though we could recommend the no bathroom option, cost that out and get that ball rolling. We have the data from Stephen from earlier on in our conversations. And I think it would be
the no
good to
bathroom
do,
for over there.
I think it would be good to do some things over there,
If we were
winterizing,
gonna,
you know, making the heating a little bit more efficient, you know, and whatever.
or
typical-
for the CPC. to do
Yeah,
the-
like there's some so there's
Yeah.
some basic stuff that he recommended that you could maybe say, you know, this is not
Right,
unaffordable.
we're talking,
could-
we're talking
could
about
recommend
modest,
that.
yes,
Yeah.
modest expense.
Exactly. And then think about the other bigger things once we've got some more public support, I think.
The police are functioning as it is, I believe.
But yeah, they're functioning as is, but they're saying it's not
It's not-
ideal and they're concerned going into the future for some of the post requirements, the
I had a
state
I have a
oversight.
question about that. It just occurred to me, you know, if there might be any savings on that end of it. That, of course, they're gonna ask for, you know, the best possible possibility.
Savings,
Savings, things that they could accommodate as savings, rather, you know, you wouldn't have to institute necessarily.
you mean upstairs, like if they stayed
I
upstairs?
guess in either scenario, that they could do without, let's say.
Yeah. It always goes in the other direction, Henry.
I know, of course it does, but everybody will ask for more.
Right.
Is what I
Some
say.
of it's driven by what they see as the future requirements made by, say, post commission of saying, you know, we gotta professionalize our, you know, it's always been about professionalizing the staff as well as where they work.
We have a small town.
Yes, no, I know. I get it.
Every day. Okay. So one of the pieces of the process to me is about allowing the town to move through this in stages.
Mhm.
And, but understanding the weight of each piece. So just using the Spear for meetings, with no bathroom, we did have, furnace would be replaced with mini splits technology for meetings. This is, so what is this? 2-1.
2-1.
That's.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And so that's goes to what Mary Jo is saying. I think we don't always need to have the amounts, but we can say this would be a low impact, low cost.
Be careful about low cost. Lower cost.
Lower cost. I mean, people can see that sort of in the weight of what it
Right,
entails.
right.
But then we will raise, even if we do it in stages, we'll raise the issue of most efficiently using the space in here. And then that launches police station downstairs
Right.
and the police station at the Spear, and those would be cost comparisons. Because so if the police moved over there, this space is not optimally used
That's correct.
in particular. So if that's a goal, it's not changed. We are still in the same place.
We were the ones that raised it, that this
Yeah.
space is not optimally used.
Right.
So,
Right.
I mean, which I think was yeah, I mean.
We being this committee.
This
Yeah.
committee, yeah.
Well, and we were doing it in order to solve the other problem.
Yes,
It's not, they're all related.
they're all
But
related.
I can
and-
see people in town saying, you know, you don't have to do anything. It's like, it's true. We do not have to use this
Right.
space optimally. Although I would opt if we didn't move the police out of upstairs, like there are some pretty, being a TC, there's some pretty bad space issues and they're not getting any better. They're
Yeah.
getting worse.
Yeah.
So,
So there is some drive or
Wait.
reasoning for reconfiguring the space in town hall. Because
right.
it isn't optimal.
Right.
And there are security issues, there are confidentiality issues.
Right.
There's a bunch of
right.
stuff,
Yeah.
reasons for.
Right.
Um.
So that has some weight to me,
mhm.
confidentiality, better office space for functions like town clerk, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So,
Interface even with the public.
Yeah.
Because right now, the town clerk it's really inadequate.
yeah,
Don't have a-
so somehow that I feel should be represented in
Mm.
terms of
reason.
weight. And they all get to blow it out and say, nope, 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 we're not going to change anything. We're going to leave it as it is.
Mhm.
That's their decision, but I feel like we can't not represent those aspects.
So would that be, within the options that we lay out? Reasons to go this path.
Maybe it would be called pros and cons.
Yeah.
Not if at the end of each section. Pros and cons or something like that.
Hmm.
But, we're not, I think Paul is, I agree with Paul that we should steer clear of any kind of overly weighted comments.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds like a recommendation.
Lay out our research and not come up with a recommendation, but rather just lay out here are the factors, here are the things you need to think about.
Yeah.
Any of these paths that we take.
What if we went out to the public to get their comments and this strong response was, nope, we don't want to spend that money, just do what you can, reusing that for meeting space. And the select board said, okay, we've heard the public, that's it. That's what we're going to do. I mean, it seems like we shouldn't be spending a whole lot of time, researching some of these difficult questions, before we know that, and that's a distinct possibility in my mind. So,
My only hesitation about that is, we have a public meeting and so 30 or 40 people come. That's not representative of the
Yeah.
whole town.
right.
And town meeting might go in a totally different direction. So it's really ultimately town meeting that
Well,
decides.
select board in the middle,
Select board in the middle.
And
what they're
FinCom would
hearing.
make recommendations in terms of where the money's at. I mean,
Mhm.
it's in the context, but you're right. Any meeting is weighted by who shows up.
Right.
And the other piece is that by having a public meeting, other people get to voice some of their wishes. We had other wishes in our list. This become a museum, this become take it or leave it, so some of that is gonna be seen or heard. And it's not, we don't have to wait that at all. But I guess I wonder if the issues around using space effectively and resolving some of the other problems still needs to be incorporated in the picture we're offering as a pros and cons.
Yeah, I think we incorporate pros and cons. I'm wondering if there's any way to compress this into a chart. It's always so
Yeah,
much
that's the-
easier that,
We did
So
for the
look at-
records.
yeah,
That's why we did it that way.
yeah.
Because you're moving too much information.
I mean, yeah, that you have this as the addendum, right? With all the notes, like if somebody wants to say, well, how did you reach that conclusion, that you know, have this, you have an annotated.
Yeah.
Say, chart, but at least that the chart puts the three things up there and across this, I'm not exactly sure what all the there's say, but you know, addresses pros and cons, just general, you know, cost. Where is this high, medium, low? And then you have this is a reference.
I don't have my copy of the record storage chart.
Is it this?
No,
No.
none of the, I didn't print it out. It could get brought up and be
Plumber's
put on.
desk.
Could actually, Brennan could bring it up with that. Nope, that's the building.
Oh, yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's not here because I,
Okay.
I recommended that people see it.
Oh,
Just
okay.
put it up on the screen right now if you want, because it's archived.
Yeah,
And you can see how that's organized and see how to modify it to our
Yeah.
purpose. It's not small endeavor.
And then, Rita, are you thinking of something for the select board
Yeah.
or for the
Yeah,
public?
something for the
Well,
select board. I think the sequence that makes sense is to go to the select board first and then have a public, and we could even do it, you know, one of the things, rather than making a bunch more meetings, you know, we could piggyback it onto a select board meeting and saying, you know, we're setting aside 45 minutes or, you know, some discrete amount of time because it's a long enough, but if it makes it
you're saying it's a public input part,
yeah.
piggyback
Yeah.
on this select board?
Yeah, so we do the report to the select board, it's like a report to the select board
Right.
and to the community
Yeah.
at the same time.
And seek and
And just
feedback,
do it.
yeah.
Yeah, do it once,
Yeah.
get feedback, then the select board is there to hear what folks in the community are saying too. And then we decide next steps after that.
So if we try to make a chart out of this,
Yeah.
we use these the same four categories
I
or?
think the four categories are no bathroom, MN Spear building becomes a whatever.
This is
Um,
how we organize the record request chart. The record storage chart. So you could do a renovation and here's different ones. You could do a new construction, here's different ones, and here's some of the concepts we discovered while doing this. And everything got rated by things that we were looking at. So the things we're looking at for the cost of the MN Spear or down here would include like security, heat, water and septic, blah, blah, blah. I think, took us a while to figure that one out. It would take a
Yeah.
while to figure out the next one.
So I think the three are, and I think that's a good way of looking at it, is the three are MN Spear, standalone, you know, use for public or use for meetings or whatever, no bathroom.
Mhm.
And the second option is police station, police office station, is relocated.
Mhm.
Oh, and I guess with that one is no changes with the police station, right? No other changes, right? Just to the
Just one.
Spear building, we're just like saying we're going to do something with it, we're ignoring over here. Next option is to relocate police offices / station inside town hall to downstairs. And then the third option is to relocate the police station / offices to the MN Spear building.
I think actually it would be one, like you said, and two would be police at Spear and three would be police at
Okay.
Town Hall, just because it's talking about
Town Hall,
Spear,
yeah.
Spear.
Okay.
Town Hall.
Yeah.
Yep. And then, And then, as I said, have, um, you know, we have a bunch of information here. I think what goes across, the top is,
Security.
yeah, I don't know what gets grouped into like cost versus utility. Do you know what I mean? What, you know, what are the issues with doing,
Yeah, so it
going that route? So if
the
it-
water, septic.
water, septic, yes, and, and rehabilitation needs. There's something, you know, general about
Like, yeah,
renovations,
interior
yeah,
renovation, Yep.
and then, um,
Includes remediation.
well, remediation down here, probably, yeah.
Renovation cost.
It's a renovation cost,
It's-
yeah. Anything else?
Security,
How about, do we want to put anything with regard to public access or public, you know what, public sort of interface with the public?
Mhm.
You know, is by leaving the, you know, leaving everything as is with the police station up there. I mean, they feel that that's an issue down
Brennan, can you
here.
put it back up on the screen for the. The thing that happened is we had the fact that the state actually requires certain things under record storage, and so they had asterisks. But then, we had some other things that I think did not have an asterisk, and then we had observations at the bottom
Yeah.
because not everything fits into a tight little box.
Right.
Um,
And that, I think, as we're putting that together, then yes, we're
Right.
doing pros and cons too. So the
Right.
pros and cons of going any of those paths.
well, so that might be. Um,
I think we keep it general, right? Without getting too much into the weeds.
right.
I
I'm
think-
trying to think how you look at that chart. Where would you put the pros and cons? Under current uses and conflicts or
Yeah, I would just make it like pros as one, as
column?
one column, and then cons. as
But those are
another.
words.
Those would be words.
And
That's
so
right.
that makes it, I'm thinking of how
It doesn't get quite as neat as this, but it's still, because we're only talking about three sections. Or we could, I'm just trying to think of if it makes sense to. I still think it makes sense to put the pros and cons in that format, even though it's more.
So maybe under where it says current uses and conflicts, it would be more like pros and cons and
Yeah.
sentences over there.
Mhm.
And so there's one that says public use and that maybe it would be called public interface.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm not trying to adapt that one. I'm trying to remember the process that ended up causing those things, those different columns and how it worked. And
well, if we started with a draft, maybe we could edit it, you know, everybody could look at it to say, does this make sense? You know, you're looking at it and saying, okay, if I'm coming in cold and you're explaining this to me, is this presentation tell our story? And
Right.
A couple observations. I mean, if you think about it, we've sort of been framing this from the get-go in terms of what we do with that building.
yes,
So that became the point of departure. And then, of course, then we have folks who are interested in that building. So that our priority then was to research those things.
Mhm,
We haven't
right.
researched other options or
Right.
possibilities.
that's right.
So another way of framing it might say, well, you know, in terms of the umbrella concept being, you know, optimizing use of our spaces. Well, in general, you know, administered spaces. It's a frame that says, well, you were just saying, perhaps we could refurbish this building that needs storage
Mhm.
space and maybe future uses. Right? We have limited funds, so that might be a better umbrella concept.
Yeah, so you're making me think that one of the things we could add to this is sort of what our goals were in thinking through the options. So optimizing space would be,
So can you scroll back up a little bit? In those discoveries, any space should be used.
Yes.
And the second one was really true. A good solution to solve multiple
Yes.
problems.
yes.
And
So I think discoveries, whatever we're going to call it, I think discoveries is sort of interesting, but goals. Yes, I like it. A space should be used when it's best suited. A good solution should solve multiple problems. I agree with that. I think any solution should optimize the use of space.
Yeah.
Costs.
And then cost.
That-
Yes. Yes, and that we,
How do we prioritize things?
well, right,
in
that we,
line?
come at this with an awareness that cost is it's an issue and will be in the considerations
Yeah.
as we go.
yeah, so actually, when you think about, when I did this chart, I said, oh my goodness, both options cost similar amounts. Police station here, police station there. But the thing that a police station here does, I just lost it.
Well, it keeps it incorporated. I think you had talked before that it's
That
incorporated
piece.
within the
Yeah. But
town government.
there was another differential, which I can't remember right now. It's interesting to read back to this and go like, oh, I know how we figured that out. I mean, the one about a good solution to solve multiple problems was the fact that on the next page, it talks about it. I don't remember writing the next page, but it does talk about like shoveling. If we put a front on this building that dealt with the fact that somebody almost chopped their finger off on the door because it's too windy and we put an airlock, we would use up some of that sidewalk and we would have to shovel it. We'd like, yay! Because that's like being in the situation and saying, yeah, we could solve this in multiple levels.
That's a good point. I mean, just something as simple as maintenance, should be another category,
Yes,
high maintenance, low maintenance.
yeah,
And I think with a lot of these categories across the top, we'll probably just, instead of like check marks or X's,
No,
we'll have
right.
to do something like high, medium, or low,
Right,
or,
that's good.
that kind of
yes.
thing.
So maintenance cost, cost of maintenance. So if you are having a police station across the way, it's being used, it has to be shoveled and plowed at every storm. If it was simply a meeting room, that's would not be a high priority.
Yeah.
You'd have to have a separate, a custodian
Right.
who's going there to clean.
Yeah. Utility.
And you would have utility costs, so you
Yeah.
would have it in constant use,
Right.
so.
I mean, to me, one of the variables that's just really huge is public support.
Mhm.
And I don't think that you're going to get that without working for it. I think that there are issues associated with people not knowing what happens here,
Mhm.
not having been here, not understanding the issues. Like, it seems to me
When you
as
say
though
what happens here
well,
at town hall or.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, if like obviously people who volunteer here, people who work
Mhm.
here are very aware
Mhm.
of the space issues.
Mhm.
But if you want to build public support, that's a
community.
whole different story.
Mhm.
Like it's a whole different project
Yeah.
potentially.
Yeah.
To get people to say, yes, yes,
It's a good idea.
I want to spend $100,000 on fixing this situation that really needs
I'll
help.
never get to
You know what
that.
I mean?
The way we frame
But,
it. though.
but I began to think
Yeah.
about, the minute I saw 6 figures, I
Mhm.
began to think about the library project
Mhm.
and how long that took
Mhm.
and how much community engagement was associated with that,
Mhm.
how much Marianne worked to get public support. And even given all of that, how hard that was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, and the other thing I'm concerned about too is if we just present this with costs and then just ask the public very briefly, what do you want to do with the police? It's a setup
Mhm.
for a lot of people, at least part of the people feeling like,
Mm.
I don't like that decision, therefore my relationship with the police department isn't what, like,
Mm.
and we have a new police chief. It would be really great if the relationship with this new police chief could get off on a good footing.
Yeah.
And the last thing that we want for him is for him to ask for something that people don't want and vote down,
Right,
right?
right. Well, I think that's why doing the presentation, having it open for public comment, we're going to be laying some of that out. Police chief is there if he wants to answer questions about like, why you need better space or whatever. Then he can do that. And that will help then shape where we go next and whether or not we start spending some other money on this.
I mean, one thing that we really haven't talked about, and I picked up from talking to a volunteer fire person, is 80% of their calls are medical.
Yes.
And if you think about one of the main issues that people have here in terms of the COA and transportation, it is the fact that they want to get to Amherst to medical appointments. And it's really hard to get there on the public means, because it's Franklin County and Amherst is
Right.
a different county. So, I mean, I think that there are themes and values that really ought to be looked at and tapped into
Mhm.
before we commit that amount of money to anything,
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
But we do have to go back to the initial thing was if that building is not used.
Yeah.
We have an insurance problem.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
right.
I don't know, we didn't even state that.
Yeah.
So the least impact is no bathroom, just use it for meetings, no problem with the insurance. The rest of it is building over time, public awareness, public support, and funding streams that can make it happen. I mean, the library had to understand that it had the activities not only to raise public awareness, not only to get the support, but to raise the funding
Right.
and do the fundraising. Any project in town, that was sort of assumed. Libraries do fundraising, libraries raise $750,000, all on their own. Then they get the state funding and the other town funding and all that. That's a long journey. And so, is that what we're gonna need to make this kind of change? But we do need to do the first one. Use the building in the very least amount of way that maintains the insurance.
Yep.
And I do think the town could be willing to see it as a stage. Some people are just gonna call it, well, we're done, and other people will say it's stage one. So I'm a little worried about it seems like a sidelight, but it's not. There's a ballot question being considered to lower the state income tax from 5% to 4%. And all of the jibber jabber out there is like, yeah, people say, yeah, lower my taxes. The fact that that has a wicked impact on our budget. Oh, make it all property tax? Is that what you're trying to do? That's what they're willing to say. And so having the option to not deal or to deal in a not helpful way is right in front of us. The state's playing that one.
Well, to make a compelling case, I think is what we're looking at here at some level. At some point, we need to really focus on the language and the process used to deliver this to the public,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, I
And
think,
I'm wondering along those lines, for instance, we have to do something with that space.
Yes.
Otherwise,
Yes.
insurance.
that is a goal.
Is
So
we
we
gotta do
put
it.
that,
But-
I think that's at the top, is that we don't have the option of just abandoning that building,
Exactly.
of mothballing the building.
And it is a historical land
Yes.
as well. But the other thing I was gonna go to, and this is gonna have to be worked on as a process, the idea, for instance, our goals, the need for this kind of investment involves, let's say, abstract ideas that need to be kind of unpacked. Optimized space. What does that mean for the average Joe and Jane here? What does it mean precisely? Why? What is the need?
Well, we could get into specifics, but I think we would do that in a presentation. So
Yeah.
for example, when we say optimized space, town clerk's office is inadequate. And it's inadequate because there's no place anybody can sit down and fill out forms or there's two people. And so the police department, so, we can talk about what are the deficiencies that we currently have in the building, but I think that doesn't get put into the chart necessarily, but there are deficiencies and we'd like to make better use of the space.
There's a compelling
So,
need here.
Yes,
Yeah.
there is a need.
How do we
Yep.
communicate?
Yeah, but I think if we could detail what some of those needs are, again, maybe that's an attachment.
Mhm.
That comes as attachment to the chart. It's kind of our findings, right?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
made some findings.
Yeah, or maybe some footnotes. you know,
Footnotes, yeah,
like,
we
you know,
were
yeah,
right,
I need for renovation here, footnote, and we can spell out what some of those are.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah. Anyone who want to volunteer to be first hit making the chart? I'm terrible at them, I'll tell you right now.
It was somebody. I can't do it by myself.
Yeah, I've already started to do a bunch of categories, so I will.
Okay.
with you on that.
Okay.
We can do
And,
that.
and yeah,
Okay,
I agree with you in terms of the detail. That shouldn't be up front, but maybe we could have more general
Oh,
language.
yeah.
that addresses these
Ye-
questions.
yes, yeah.
So
I think it gets incorporated one way or another,
Yeah,
that it's again, the footnotes, the notes to this, however we want to categorize it, but that, we have that.
I think another big concern is whatever we do, asking people for their input does not guarantee a solution, and we're not hearing them.
Right.
We are, and happens on the FinCom. Our job is to do this. You can do this and this, but you have to do the big picture. That's our job, to keep the town in balance. And so, we do, hear from people, and we have to find a path forward that will work the best for the whole.
well, there's always this case for an informed public.
Right. Yep.
This is I think the bottom.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna be going asking for money. We want to have done our homework, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
made sure that we kind of looked at all the options.
And for me, that means we're not talking this annual town meeting.
They're not.
So
No.
we definitely we need to hold that expectation and say, we understand there's a lot of push here. 'Cause we
Mhm.
understand there's a lot of problems we're trying to solve. This is gonna take time.
Yeah, yeah.
We may have to discuss at some point what happens in the meantime over there to,
I
for
think-
insurance purposes.
Yeah, so we're insured for the Old Town Hall. We have storage there. So it could be as simple as saying, we're gonna put some things in storage
Yep.
over there, and once a week, somebody is gonna go over and just check on things over there to make sure there's no mouse infestation or, whatever else we're worried about. But that there's I think for insurance purposes, they want to know that there's somebody who's looking after the
Mhm.
building
Yep.
too. So,
And we do too.
and we do
We
too.
want to make sure
Right.
things being looked
Right.
after. So two things I'd like to say. One is, my view of, kind of moving forward now is that, as I said before, I think we need to be able to focus a little bit more on where we go next. And I see that as, a combination of getting more public input, but probably via the select board. It's almost like I think the select board needs to get more
Yep.
public input.
Yep.
And then provide us with some more guidance.
Yeah.
So then we can say, okay, this is where we're gonna go next.
Yeah.
Secondly, if Susie and I are gonna work on a first draft of the chart, it might be good to just take a couple minutes and brainstorm what categories across the top, you folks might have in mind? I mean, I jotted down a bunch. And I can tell you what those are, if you want, and then, if people have others.
Just to be clear, categories or,
So if we do a chart, right, we'll have our options down the left, Spear as a meeting space only, moving the police to the Spear and reorganizing town hall. And then across the top, we would have all these, the different
okay,
variables, categories, whatever you want. Water, septic, we mentioned those two already. And again, for each of these, I mean, it may require more than just a check mark. Yes,
I mean,
there may be a lot of cost involved in putting in a new septic system, for example. So we'll have to figure out how we fill in the boxes below. So water, septic, interior renovations, there's so many potential ones of those. I mean, we can either break that down further or just come up with minor, medium, major renovation, that kind of thing. Maybe initially we can just do the categories. Cost, again, low, medium, high, something
Yep.
like that. Are there significant code issues or, minor or major code issues? We can do it that way. Will we need an architect to be involved? Is there any hazardous material remediation involved, like there may be here in this space?
Maybe that could, instead of having too many categories across the top.
Yeah.
If we were talking about renovations, we could incorporate some of that into that category.
Okay,
So,
so,
in a box, like remediation, hazardous materials remediation. If we think that that's going to be an issue,
mhm,
other, electrical upgrades or, just
right.
in terms of the renovations, so that it's not too many categories, because it's gonna get.
Yeah, well, that's why I thought the
Like,
footnotes
group
would
it.
be helpful.
Yeah.
So yes, we need major renovations, and then footnote 2 said electrical upgrades,
Right.
this material, remediation, so forth. So, and then the other things, I had, I grabbing from Susie's, chart. Does it solve multiple issues or problems?
Yeah.
Maintenance costs, utility costs. And then I think Mary Jo mentioned public support as a potential category too. Does it have, good public support?
But we won't know.
We won't
that.
know that.
So I don't think we
Might
want to
be
put
the-
that string marks. No, let's not put it there. We're soliciting public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing I was thinking is if we had a list of things that we absolutely needed to do within a certain time frame, like across the street, what
Anything we
really
have to do right
needs to
away.
be done right away? Are there things associated with the police department that have deadlines in terms of when certain regulations are going to come on and be relevant? I mean, it sounds like they had some urgency. So what level of urgency is associated with any of these things and what could potentially be put off?
I think also, when you mentioned that, it made me think we might want to share this with the police department right now, so they get to see the progress, the thinking, because they may say, oh, no, that shouldn't be on there, blah, blah, blah. And certainly the draft of this chart, they're the ones that we're most operating with. So I feel like they should be seeing and hearing what we're thinking in case they have a different perspective that's significant and we need to incorporate it. Because we don't want to work in a vacuum. So when you said timeline, that might be part of it for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Do they need certain things by a certain time? Otherwise, it's going to be difficult to.
So what do you
meet
think
the
about
requirements
sending
of their
this draft just as it is?
Yeah.
I know this was totally off topic, but we never really considered the idea of a recreational use.
No, we have, what we did was, and I think we can explain to people, we surveyed
Okay,
the municipal folks
Okay.
and boards and committees and town departments, because they should be first,
Yeah.
right? We have this building, it's a town building. what are the needs, going beyond that. Then you might have public input where people, come in and say, well, why didn't you look at making a museum there?
Cafe.
Or a cafe? Well, the reason we didn't was because one of our observations is that this space is not optimally used. And we have needs. We have building space needs.
So Paul's first note has that, and then we can say there are other, we heard about other potential uses, but there's says the existing space in town halls is
Yes.
adequate for.
Right.
So,
And so that's kind of a mission statement. Our mission was to look at that and in the process of, beginning to look at that and surveying folks, we understood
Yep.
that the space is not.
So other like major categories across the top.
I wouldn't make too many. I think that
maintenance.
yeah, I was just saying water sewer, I put interior renovation.
Yeah.
Architect, maintenance,
Maintenance did come up.
utilities.
Maintenance, utilities as a category.
Could be. Or water and sewer / utilities could be a category, because water.
Because those would be weighted differently, like maintenance would be weighted differently depending on the use, so it should get marked.
Yeah, I think it, right.
And same with
That
utilities.
cost alone, I think, just in an informal conversation with Marianne, she said that if that were to be divided up into different,
Yeah,
offices,
Yeah.
they would need more units to
Yes.
heat.
they need
Yeah,
many
it's
splits.
splits, right?
Yeah. And mini splits are not great when you have really super cold weather.
Well,
You still need a backup heating system, fossil fuel.
But Susie, you think we got enough to work on the?
Yeah. And the thing
Start
is
something up.
it's one of those things, this, as you sort it out, just like this one, as you sort it out, you go, oh, and then you
Yeah.
try to deal with that.
Yeah.
So if you do that, could we then for our next meeting, because then I want to get onto the select board schedule.
Right.
I think we need to go through the chart, finalize it, and then ask to meet with the select board at the following meeting. So that would probably be before town meeting. I don't know what. See, so we just met,
This town meeting this year.
on
Ninth.
is May
May.
9th. Tell me when the,
Warrant articles.
no warrant articles, just tell me when's the select board meeting again. If we're meeting on the,
March 3rd. March 3rd and 17th,
March
and
17th.
then the 31st.
Do we want to try for the March 17th meeting?
2 weeks from now for us is the 5th. March.
Right, so we meet on the 5th.
On the chart,
Have,
drafted.
we'd had everything ready.
Hell,
Is the 17th too soon, or
I think we better move forward.
let's do it?
Tuesday, 17th, SB. And is that one where it's a public and SB?
Yes, yep. So we'd invite the public,
so what date we're thinking there?
March 17th, it's a
17th.
Tuesday.
And Rita, are you anticipating that you would just present this as a select?
Anybody could do it from the,
Yeah,
or I'd rather have somebody from the committee and me sitting as select board. Maybe. We could figure that out,
next meeting, we can figure that one out.
yeah. But I think somebody from the committee does it better than me.
All right, so we will try to get something out to people before our
Yeah.
next meeting, so that you can
Yeah.
digest it a little bit, and then we'll be ready to discuss it at the meeting. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
I just thought I would mention too, I don't know if you knew this, you maybe do. I looked to see if there was money available for feasibility studies from the state. There is. There are a couple of different sources of money for that.
Was it
For things like,
Page?
what you're gonna do with public buildings.
Oh,
Like I did a search.
Oh, okay.
I used ChatGPT.
I'm
to do a
impressed, Mary
search
Jo.
on What do you do to deal with, our situation?
Yeah,
And it basically said, yeah, to get money from the state to do a feasibility study.
yeah, it'd be interesting to hear where you found that. I mean, I had looked once and I found something from, I think it was Mass Development, which is a quasi-public. And their feasibility money was available only if you were going to do a mixed use or like an economic development project.
It will
So-
rent out a little
There
corner.
you go.
Right, So,
That's
so
the
like if you were gonna say,
Don't call it bed and
we're
breakfast,
gonna
Airbnb.
create, you know, and that it was, I mean, there was looking for job creation too, but
Yeah.
that there was some economic development benefit to the community. And I did, at the time, I thought, you know, if it was straight up municipal offices. I know that the legislature has been looking at, you know, having having a bill to make money available to communities that need to upgrade their
I'm
buildings. I
sure
don't
we're
think
not the
it's-
only ones.
No, we're not.
that.
It's a big problem.
Label which office would offer them feasibility money? in
I
Massachusetts?
checked the Massachusetts, State of Massachusetts website that they referred me to, and it
Yeah.
looked like there were a couple of options.
Yeah, if you could just let us
So,
know what that was.
I
that'd be
could,
great.
I could send that. Could look into it a little bit more, because, you know, and the other thing that they said was really important to build public support.
Yeah.
That's the other thing
Yep.
that they said, so.
Yeah,
You know, and there may be ways to do that in conjunction with some sort of feasibility study as
Yeah.
well.
it would definitely, you would do that. You'd probably
Yeah.
bring people in, so. All right, great. So I think that's sort of we've covered, item number 5, so we're talking about preparation, select board. Source of money for feasibility study, if you can bring that back to us, that would be great. And community engagement, we're already talking about having a meeting with, open to the public. I don't think we need to talk about Alan Weiss now. I think we're not ready for him quite yet.
Yeah, the only thing is that, you know, he has said, if you want to send me information, I'd be happy to look it over. So like if we do get a well completion report, for example, and you know, and the information we had on the septic system over there,
Okay,
you know, at least that information, he'd be happy
would
to look
at.
over, yeah.
So Brendan, did you forward that stuff to Alan Weiss,
The map.
the permit and the,
Yep.
yeah,
Oh,
okay,
you
great.
did already?
But that,
Okay.
yeah, that's only that piece.
Yeah.
That we had. and
So
he
then it'll
didn't
just
see.
be a well completion report if we can
Okay.
locate one. And I'm happy to kind of go through the file if that's what is
Yeah.
needed, you know?
Right, okay,
Because it's kind of interesting anyway.
yeah.
Okay, anything else? All right, so next meeting date is March 5th. Does that work for folks? Thursday, March 5th?
Oh, I'm gone. I finally get to be gone. That's okay. Y'all can
You
meet
can
without
still
me.
participate.
No, I'll be,
Is Stephen
I'll be
back
so
then?
gone.
You know?
Is Stephen back then? That's a good question.
Yeah, good question.
I think I did jot
Let's
down.
see, he was here on the 3rd, right? He was here for the meeting when you met on February,
On the 5th,
on the 5th.
and he was leaving like the next day.
He was gone for a month,
Yeah,
so
oh, it was close.
it's close, yeah. Don't know when he's back.
I was thinking we need to put those in the notes after a minute. Because people
Yes,
go
yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
And I can't remember from somebody else.
Do you, I mean, we could switch it to the following week.
You know, since we're gonna be discussing this chart that Susie and I are putting together.
Yeah.
it'd be nice to have
They have
Susie.
Susie there.
Yes.
Are you,
I'm away for 3 days. It's one of them. Okay,
How about Monday the 9th? Would Mondays work?
At same time, 10:30.
Yeah. Or we could do a little earlier if you want. Monday the
For
9th?
me,
Okay,
ninth,
yeah.
we sticking with 10:30?
What's
Stephen,
your pleasure?
Stephen used to, oh, I know, there's some kind of yoga
Yeah, he
thing.
did, that's on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay, so let's try to make it 10. How's that?
10 o'clock. Going once,
Oh,
going twice. Is that good? No?
10:30 works way better for me.
Oh, 10:30. Let's do
If
10:30.
if it's
then.
not a huge thing.
No,
Back to 10:30.
10:30 is
We'll
fine.
still be ready for the 17th then.
Yes. Yeah, that's the goal. Okay, great. Well, thank you, everybody. It's a good committee.
I move to adjourn.
so
I hear a motion.
There you go.
I hear a second.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Mosher, aye.
my.
Johnson, I.
Okay, it's unanimous. Farrell, aye. Thanks again. Good work.
Okay, Mr. Calendar. Do you have on your, okay,
Mentioned Chat GPT and I get something about Chat.
oh my, really? Because the world hears you?
God.
Is that true?
It's,
What did you say?
it happens all the time.
I